We got some significant streaks snapped and one or two streaks that are noteworthy enough to keep an eye on that are still going. The streaks that have been snapped, we have 4 significant snap streaks. Number one, the 15-game regular season winning streak for the 49ers is obviously over. Brock Purdy's undefeated start for his career in the regular season is over, along with his start this year in games without an interception. The have scored 30 or more points streak to start a year and going back to last year, obviously both of those streaks are now snapped. And most easy to see and most dramatically, Jake Moody's streak of no missed kicks came to an end, and it did so in game-losing fashion. He had not missed a kick before he missed these two. So we went from very impressed, nothing is wrong, to now maybe it's time to call Robbie Gould. There's a reason why people overreact. Maybe you and I are even overreacting. Maybe they haven't lost any faith in Moody at all. The question is, has Moody lost any faith in himself? And if the answer is no there, you keep going forward. But you and I already agreed. I would call Robbie this week. You got all that cap space. You cannot let, we didn't have enough money to pay our never missed a big kicker to come on back in a year we're trying to win a Super Bowl, especially when you got the money to do that. And you can, here's the deal. What if I told you that you can sign Robbie Gould and have enough money to re-sign Brandon Ayuk next year, and you can have both? Wouldn't you want to do that? I mean,
here's the thing. People
well built enough, Larry, to not be worried about running back, cornerback, safety depth when you've got a kicking issue. If you have a kicking issue, isn't that worth paying for?
I mean, people love to read, they love to read the tea leaves and guess along with the team. And right now, there's a lot of people saying, oh, that's knee-jerk to talk about moving Jake Moody. Why? Because they just saw the 49er players and coaches all go to the podium and say, it's not Jake's fault, man. Wasn't on Jake. That doesn't change anything. That does not change anything. They're going to support him. They're going to support him verbally 100% of the time, even beyond them bringing in Robbie Gould. You know what I mean? So right. They could bring in Robbie Gould tomorrow, and still on Friday, when asked about Jake Moody, they're going to be like, "Hey, man, we believe in Jake. We love Jake. We believe in Jake. Jake's the future." Blah 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 blah.
Right.
So
Jordan
if you're
Poole,
waiting,
going to be here for years,
right,
until 24 hours later when he's traded to Washington.
Right. Yeah, Mike Dunleavy. Yeah, Jordan Poole's going to be here for another 4 years. He wasn't here for another 4 days. These guys lie. And the bottom line is, right now, I guarantee you they've thought it, and I guarantee you they're considering it. And to what degree, we're not going to know until the move actually gets done. I would say, to sign Robbie Gould this morning would probably be knee-jerk, but I bet you a call would be made to him saying, hey, Robbie, before you sign elsewhere, would you give us the phone call? If somebody else is going to ring you.
Larry. I mean, that's the thing. Maybe Gould in his own mind is sitting on a beach with a pina colada in his hand and thinking, I'm never going to step on a football field again. I've made a ton of cash. I'm living a great life. I'm done. But you might want to call and find that out. Yeah, I'm just saying, you might want to just give him a call and find out. Maybe
you might want to find out. I mean, what's more important? A kicker that can make it from 60 or a kicker that will make it from 45? What's more valuable there? That's really the question. What's more valuable? Because it's not about money. It's not about money. Robbie Gould made $4.8 million. If the Niners want to go sign Robbie right now, they're already a month into the year. They could probably spend less than $3 million and get him signed. And they have $41 million under the cap and plenty to roll over if they want. So it's really just a matter of what move do they want to make, and how do they feel about Robbie, and how do they feel about Jake. And do they, but I would say Jake's only got one more pressure kick that he misses before they're calling up Robbie. I really believe that's about, if you said make a prediction, I'll predict one more miss that, if you miss from 55, no, not a problem. If you miss from 45, it is a problem. And that's how this game is measured, sadly. If he misses one more kick from 40 something yards, I think they bring back Robbie and move Jake aside temporarily.
Let me answer your question specifically, though, Larry. What would you rather have? The guy who can hit from 60 or the guy who won't miss from 40?
45.
I wonder if the NFL doesn't think, and Kyle doesn't think, I'd rather have the could do it from 60, because we live in an offensive era where fourth and 5 or less on your side of the field is a you should go for it scenario now. So, 4th and 5 from this is going to be a bomb field goal, or we're going to give the ball over maybe at midfield. You maybe try that field goal more than, hey, you're somewhere around a 35, 38, 42-yard field goal, but it's 4th and short, so we're going to go for it. Now, I don't know if the modern aggressive way to go about coaching 4th down brings the Niners back to Robbie Gould faster than it turns them away from Jake Moody. I don't know. I guess we'd have to ask Kyle about that, and he'd never tell you for real. So,
well, I mean, close only matters in horseshoes and hand grenades. You've heard that saying before, right?
Yeah, I know. Did you ever play a game called hand grenades? Or are they talking like actual, just get this hand grenade close and it'll do the job?
I think they're actually talking about real hand grenades.
All right, let's talk about some streaks intact here, Larry, because there are a couple things that are, again, doom and gloom Monday for sure. Nobody's happy with the loss, but I can tell you this definitively right now. Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel will come back healthy within a week or two. Every single plan that this team has to win a Super Bowl is still very much on track. The Niners, with yesterday's loss in Cleveland, are still among the very best teams in the sport, full stop. No reason to go panicking here. Christian McCaffrey's consecutive games scoring a touchdown has now reached a dozen, which is the longest of his career. He's one touchdown away from tying Jerry Rice's franchise record of 13 straight games with a touchdown. Now, that's consecutive games. So if Christian McCaffrey were to miss this week, that streak is over. It's not games that you were available and played. It's consecutive regular season games. So that streak hangs in the balance, including the postseason. Christian McCaffrey has scored one or more touchdowns in 15 straight games now, which is the longest active streak of any NFL player and the longest streak by a member of the Niners in franchise history. So he's looking to build upon both of those if he's healthy enough to play in Minnesota. His 15 consecutive games with a touchdown tie Hall of Famers John Riggins and O.J. Simpson for the second most consecutive games, postseason included, with a touchdown in NFL history. With a touchdown on the opening drive, even though it didn't lead to a victory, this team is still cooking on opening drives. They have scored on their opening drive in 8 consecutive regular season games. And even though it wasn't a day that you can say the 49ers run defense played particularly well, once again, they held no runner eclipsed 100 yards all by himself as an individual. This is 33 consecutive games that the 49ers have prevented a running back from going over 100 yards on them individually. And at 33 in a row, that is the longest active streak in football. So they still got that, and that's good. So it's not all doom and gloom, but a disappointing loss on a day where everything went wrong. They played poorly, got physically beaten, didn't have the officials giving them any help at all throughout the entire day, and they were still lining up for a game-winning field goal on a day where they didn't have much business winning a football game.